There's a few hundred people in the room at a corporate, and they very quickly just went silent. Daggers and animosity. What's your name? What did you do? And he just stared at me. And I went, guys, thank you so much for having me. Good night. And I walk off to nothing, and I trip over the speaker. So, bye.
Did you get a laugh on that though?
No, no.
So I'm waiting for Imran Yusuf. I think he's coming that way. Hang on a second. Don't say I saw it. I think he's...
I don't think it's something you ever grow out of, right? Sneaking up on a friend. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, mate. Thanks for coming today.
All right, thank you. I think I'm more pleased with myself that I snuck up on you with some degree of stealth.
Yes, you did do that.
Ninja. Because you're a comedian, we all know you, we're all just comfortable.
Yeah.
And there's no like, oh, he might be like, do it this way, do it that way. And we're like, oh, no, this is Steve. Just.
Have you got that?
I did get that, yeah.
That's good. That's a good intro.
I think that's what, it's incredible, isn't it? Because like, you're a comedian, right?
I am.
And then you took up photography,
Yes.
and then you're like, started taking photos, like, hey, I'm available to taking photos. We're like, well, that just makes it easier, because sometimes when you go and get photographs from a photographer that you don't know, and although they might be great, you might not really be comfortable.
I get
Do you know
that
what I mean?
a lot. That was going to be one of my questions. Do you like having your photo taken? Because some people get quite nervous and
Just
I always found when
now
I've
that my
taken-
face is symmetrical.
Is it?
Like
Wasn't it?
it wasn't before. Like I have a photo of when my nose was broken and my teeth weren't straight, and then got all that fixed.
But what happened? Why did you get? Do you had a broken nose?
So when I was 10 years old, I was
Yeah.
playing football in the playground. I was a very cute kid.
Yeah.
Of course.
I can tell.
Hopefully you can tell now.
Yeah.
And I ran into somebody when I was running really, really fast, and it knocked me out, and I hit the floor. And then had to go to hospital, and the doctor said, yeah, you've broken your nose, but don't worry, it will heal itself. We don't need to do anything. And so I continued being a cute kid after the swelling came down a bit.
Yeah.
And then when I was about 14, because it was broken, it grew out of shape and kind of went off to one side. And as I got older, it didn't get any better.
You get close up of your face and nose.
I didn't have braces as a kid, and so my teeth were like really, really bad. So growing into a young adult, I had a big broken nose and messed up teeth. And then I did Celebrity Mastermind.
Did you win?
No.
What was your subject?
Jackie Chan.
No, it wasn't.
All the Jackie Chan questions I mostly aced. And when we did general knowledge, any time that I didn't know the right answer, I just kept to say Jean-Claude Van Damme. And they shot from the wrong angle. They shot from the angle which I was not symmetrical at all. And I looked at myself and went, oh my God. And I'm like, I've got to change this. And so went and got the nose done.
Yeah.
When you took that first photo of me in the rope tackle centre for barnstormers. So that's my old nose and my old teeth.
Oh.
Right. And so this is my new nose and my new teeth. Now I'm all symmetrical. And what I realised is that before, when someone took a photo, I'd instantly, that was my good side.
Yes. So
I'd instantly do that every time. Now it doesn't matter. Like now I don't move, and I'm like, oh, I feel I'm not burdened by that self-conscious kind of anxiety anymore.
Ironic if you just came out of all your stuff being done and you walk into a wall and
You know what I did do? I walked into a lamppost the other day. Fortunately, I caught it with the back of my head because I had just met Jimbo.
Jimbo.
Yeah!
So, they won't know who Jimbo is.
You got to get him. You got to get Jimbo. He's got a little walker now, but he still do stand up. Yeah.
Jimbo, let's just very quickly say Jimbo was one of these acts, a perennial open spot.
Yeah.
And he used to go for these competitions. Wasn't a big one where he went to, was it Leicester or somewhere up north, and he drove in the rain, and it was, is that the story?
I know where this is going, and I want to hear it. He was the only person who turned up to a comedy competition.
And then, but he got there because it was absolutely pouring rain and the terrible traffic, and he got there like half an hour late, and the landlord said, look, we've cancelled it. And Jimbo goes, well, I might as well do it anyway. And he said, look, here's the money for the prize money, 60 quid or something like that, you know, here's the prize money. He said, no, I'll do it anyway. So he did it in front of the people, and it was so bad, the guy asked for his money back.
What happened when I started comedy, he was like, you know, a thing on the open mic circuit. Then he got ill, and we all heard he was in hospital. So I found out what hospital he was at, and I called the phone by his bed, right?
Yeah.
An actual like wired phone by his bed, and it rang, and then went to an answering machine. And he went, hello, this is Jimbo. I'm either taking a piss or I'm dead. Leave a message, find out.
Just noticing as you're talking to me, you're like an albatross. You have got big.
I should have been a basketball player, right? So
but your wingspan is quite. You could hit the basket, I reckon, without jumping too high. Give me a wingspan.
Get all of that in.
Yeah, just about. It's a bit of a long lens. Okay. If you're liking these shows, make sure you hit the like button.
Yes, yeah. So if you like, that's the least you can do. It's appreciated. However, you comment, and a nice comment as well.
I'll comment back as well. I'll reply back.
Yeah, he will. Subscribing is super important. Yeah. You will get more of this kind of content. Just do it all. Look, just like, just click, comment, just go, hey guys, this is really cool. We think Imran Yusuf is really symmetrical and funny. Share and subscribe. Just do it all. Because what you give into the world, hopefully will come back to you. Inshallah.
Where's the money? I owe you lots of money. Now back to the show.
Taking photographs, it should be a fun thing. I've got photo albums of I've got family photos that go all the way back to when, my parents were kids in East Africa.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, we've got loads of them. So at home, I've collected them all and I've put them into different eras. When you look at yourself when you're younger, you're like, I remember how I saw the world and how I felt about the world in my life when I was a kid. Yeah, I've got all the photo albums of my youth, of our family through the ages, through East Africa, Hackney Downs, Harrow. When I lived in America as well, we've got all of that. And,
so where your family's from there? Where were you born?
I was born in Mombasa. So even though my parents had already moved here, when my mum became pregnant with me, she went back to East Africa and gave birth to me there. So I always make the joke that because she knew as she got older, she'd become more right-wing and she didn't want me getting a free passport.
Do you have a favourite photograph?
I'd say I have quite a few, but I always think of the photo you took of me, Marlon Davis, Andrew
glad
Bird,
he's going to say that.
And Matt Welcome. I remember it was around the corner at the Bloomsbury Theatre. We were in the green room and you were just taking photos. Something funny was said, and then in that moment we all spontaneously laughed, right? And it was great. Marlon's barely on camera because he's like run away, it's that funny, right? I've thrown my head back in laughter. Andrew Bird's like, what the hell's going on? So is Matt Welcome. And it was just a lovely moment.
Video games, so that was your beginning in work?
Yes, that was the first thing I wanted to do was go to the video games industry. Really, I wanted to be a games designer, which I never became. First I was a games analyst, then I became an assistant producer, and then I went backwards, became a tester, a specialist tester, a lead tester, and then back to assistant producer again, and then comedian.
But why did you come out of the games industry?
Every artist wants just unmitigated creative freedom.
Right.
I just want to do what I want to do, and don't get in the way and tell me no. And in the games industry, first of all, I didn't have any technical competency. So I wasn't an artist, I was not a designer, and I wasn't a coder. You can be a producer and still have creative influence. Understand that. But in order to get that far, you've got to spend years being somebody else's underling, being told what to do, working at big companies who are making awful games, but paying well enough for you to stay there and to get the awful game out in the hope that the next game might be better. And it just wasn't happening for me, and I felt very frustrated. And whereas comedy is just like, well, if you're funny, just say and do what you want.
Right.
As long as it's making people laugh, you have 100% creative control.
Great, nice. So you've got your nose, your teeth, the laugh. First gig then?
Do you want me to do it in this position? The first ever gig in which I performed as a stand-up comedian was April of 2000 at Harrow Arts Centre for Jeff Mirza at an Asian comedy night, Bollywood comedy night. And I went to watch it the month before and I was like, wow, actual stand-up, like that thing on the Comedy Store and that thing in the Jongleurs is happening near where I live. Paul Chowdhury was on it.
Really?
Yeah, and he spoke to me from the stage. And then the first show that I did, I think Shappy was on it. That was it for Jeff Mirza, and I just caught him after a show and go, how can I get started in stand-up? How'd you do it? And he's like, just come back next month and I'll give you 5 minutes. And I was like, wow, all right. So I turned up and had a great gig. But when you're new and you've got that, hello, I'm doing this for the first time energy in a Asian comedy night in Harrow, people are on your side. So that one went really well. So Jeff went, come back next month. Right, and I'll give you another 5 minutes. So I wasn't telling all my friends. And it went well. Loads of my friends turned up, gave me loads of support. I did really, really well. I felt like I was on top of the world, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do.
Do you want to do the best gig or the worst gig first?
We should start with the best, because then it's funnier.
Yeah. Okay. Have you got a best gig? Let me get that praying. Where are you praying there? Because that looks like the worst gig.
Oh, this is Muslim prayer, huh?
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, best gig.
So best gig. I've had quite a few best gigs.
Yeah.
It's not so much about the gig. There are moments as a performer, you're on stage and you are just surfing on this wave of goodwill by an audience that's totally enraptured by you. I am orchestrating the consciousness of all the people in this room, and all of them, if
That
not,
does sound very arty-farty, but there is a truth in this.
all of them are just in the palm of your hands. The Comedy Store is my favorite gig. That's the gig I was like, when I make it there, then I'm a comic. So having worked in the games industry, there was a time when I went through a depression and I was like, right, what I want to do is one day bring comedy and video games together, but how am I going to do that? I'm a nobody in the games industry, I'm a nobody in comedy. And then years later, I made a little bit of a name for myself in comedy, and I was like, I'm going to do a fundraiser at the Comedy Store called Stand Up for Games Aid, and I'm going to get the whole of the games industry to come and watch. And they went, okay, great, let's do that. So we put on a show at the Comedy Store, we sold it out, right? 400 people, we raised loads of money, and I remember just standing there just going, wow. I remember when I was a games tester on minimum wage on a rolling contract who wasn't feeling great about himself. And one day, I'm suddenly now the master of ceremonies and the host and organizer of Stand Up for Games Aid at the Comedy Store. And the games industry was celebrating me. And I felt so good about myself. And that was one of my best gigs. And that was on a Monday.
Yep.
Then on Tuesday, the next day.
Seriously?
The next day, right? The next day, I had a corporate. So, gonna make a few grand. Monday, yeah, I'm king of the world on Monday. Tuesday, reality check. And I go on and I was doing okay, and I had a routine called the British citizenship test, where I got someone in the audience to say a bunch of words in the correct British way, the correct British pronunciation. And if you get it wrong, we're like, you get deported. And they liked that, and that's when I should have stopped. But I continued, and they very quickly just went silent. Daggers and animosity. Even when I tried to go, well, that's not working, maybe I should talk to somebody, hey man, like, what's your name, what do you do? And he just stared at me. When you try to make conversation with someone in the audience and they just stare at you, right? There's a few hundred people in the room at a corporate and it's all about them. And in the end, I realized that I'd really balls this up. And I went, guys, thank you so much for having me. Good night. And I walk off to nothing and I trip over the speaker. So, bye.
Did you get a laugh on that though?
No.
That would have been
The first bit of advice I think I got as a comedian, and we've all got this, right? If you're doing badly, get off. If you're doing well, get off.
Yeah. So if you look in the mirror now,
yeah,
what do you see?
Or you taking photos.
Yeah, but do you see anything deeper than that? What do you see now?
I see me.
Yeah.
Still being cheeky, still being cute.
Yeah.
But getting older. But I have a youthful spirit, and I think that will never leave me.
Do you like
until I die, and then you deal with that. Comedians definitely, when you think we're on stage and we're making people laugh, we are provoking joy in these strangers, because we have this talent to be able to wield words and expressions in such a way that it elicits laughter and joy from the audience. But yin and yang always have to exist, right? Light and dark always have to exist, and you can't always just be, everything's great, because there's a dark side to everything, right? And there is a point where I'll hit a low where I feel incapacitated, and something will just push me up and go, right, we're getting back up and we're dealing with this. When I started out, I wasn't as good as I thought I'd be, and I had to really work hard to develop the tools to be good at the actual art of stand-up. Because when you're the funny guy in the office, or the funny guy with your friends, that's not the same as being funny on stage. The career in the games industry hadn't gone well, a particular relationship all went really, really badly, and just the stresses of life broke me, and I thought, right, I need to fix this. And I realized that no one is coming to save me, right? And it's up to me, it's my responsibility. So one of the first things that I did, I went, right, I'm gonna fix this. And I bought an iPod, and I filled it full of positive music and positive stuff. And I made sure that I listened to it on the way to work and the way home. I'm in a WhatsApp group with friends from the games industry now, and we've all got each other's backs. Someone needs a job, or someone needs some advice, or someone needs anything, like, we're just there, we're just bonded. That was one of the first ways I started to fix it, and it took time. I had new tools. You need to make sure that what you're consuming and the time that you're spending with other people is good for you. I look like I'm taking a poo.
Doesn't it?
Is this going to be deep faked? This is a really important exercise to be able to do, is to squat.
Come on, let's do it.
It's a squat competition.
So, right, Imran.
It's a healthy mind, healthy body, and healthy emotions. Mind and body is something that in our culture we're aware of, but how do you have healthy emotions has been an area that I've had to explore.
But there was another photograph very quickly I was going to talk about, was when you did, I think it was a different charity.
And there's that lovely photo you got with Jeremy in the middle and then us flanking him, and we make a heart shape.
See, I
It's
didn't
really
see
pretty.
that. But the one I was thinking of more was when, I don't know if Jeremy had finished or he was coming on, but there was a beautiful hug.
Yeah.
It was such a nice hug.
Yeah, but because I'm so much taller than he was, it looks like I'm picking up a child. But he was great, man. Comedians like him and Mark Thomas, I like deeply admire. These like people,
Well,
they're saints.
Thomas is having a resurgence, isn't he? He is so powerful. Such a great act.
And he's such a lovely man as well. Both him and Jeremy, they
I know can't get Jeremy because he passed, but Mark Thomas, I'll get you to come.
Oh, you definitely got to get Mark Thomas. The stories he's got.
Yeah.
Good Lord. And the way that we revere a saint that lived hundreds of years ago. You know, people like Mark Thomas and Jeremy Hardy were the saints that are living now. And these are comedians who really do it, who really mean what they say, and the material is really deep and they really understand what they're doing, and they're activists outside of it. I think Mark Thomas has been arrested a few times. I'd be terrified of that happening. He's leaving a legacy behind that you can't manufacture, and it comes from his heart.
This has been fantastic. This is Imran Yusuf.
Steve Best.
I'm going to do a quick selfie.
Can I do it as well?
Yeah. Let's do a double selfie.
I'm going to do it. Got to look at. And now look at you.
Can you send me that one as well?
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.